Portland, Oregon, the visiting locker room at the Rose Garden. Kobe Bryant is sitting at the far end of the room looking up at a small TV bolted to the ceiling. On the screen, Scottie Pippen doing a pre-game interview talking about how Portland is going to fight back tonight, going to make the series interesting. Then Kobe stands up, walks across the locker room, stops directly in front of the screen, looks Pippen, frozen on the TV, dead in the eye, and quietly says, "You're crazy, man. Today is your last day of work." A few of his teammates chuckle. Kobe walks out, plays the game, drops 22 and 9, shoots Scottie Pippen out of his own building. The Lakers sweep, Mike Dunleavy gets fired, and Scottie Pippen never plays another playoff game that matters. This is the story of how the meanest sentence Scottie Pippen ever spoke became the worst decision he ever made. To understand why Scottie Pippen ended his career watching Kobe Bryant kill him on a locker room TV, you have to back up, because the beef didn't start in 2001. It started in 1999. That spring, the Houston Rockets had built themselves into a basketball fantasy team. Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and a 33-year-old Scottie Pippen, fresh off 6 championships in Chicago. They were supposed to terrorize the Western Conference. Instead, in the first round, they ran into a 20-year-old Kobe Bryant in his second full season as a starter. Lakers won in 4, Kobe played Pippen to a draw, and at moments embarrassed him. Phil Jackson, who had coached Pippen for 9 years and knew his basketball soul better than any human alive, would later say on the record that this was where the bad blood started. The veteran got handled by the kid, and the veteran didn't forget. Bryant generally got the better of his more experienced opponent at that time. Fast forward 1 year, 2000, Pippen is now in Portland, Western Conference Finals, Lakers and Blazers, Game 7. Portland leads by 15 in the fourth quarter, they are 11 minutes away from the NBA Finals, and then a 21-year-old kid rips that game out of Scottie Pippen's hands. 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks. That alley-oop, the Lakers go on to win their first title in 12 years. So when these two teams meet again in the first round of the 2001 playoffs, this is now the third time in 3 springs Scottie Pippen has shown up to a playoff series with a younger Kobe Bryant on the other side. You can feel a man carrying something heavy, because everything Scottie Pippen is about to say and everything he is about to do only makes sense if you understand he was already 2 springs into losing. Game 1 Staples Center, the Lakers come out hot. Horace Grant goes a perfect 6 of 6 in the first quarter for 12 points, Lakers up 11. Then Portland flips it. They are reel off a 15-0 run. Rasheed Wallace is unstoppable, scoring 12 in the second quarter alone, and then this happens. Rasheed Wallace, on a routine play, cocks back and drives an elbow straight into Kobe Bryant's ribs. Inadvertent but vicious. Kobe goes straight to the locker room. The team doctor wraps him in an ice bandage. He ices the side, takes a couple of Advil, and comes back out. The Oregonian's Brian Meehan, who watched it all live, would file his column the next morning calling it a Lazarus performance. Because what happened next was the most ruthless half of basketball Kobe Bryant had ever played to that point in his career. 25 points in one half, 9 of 13 from the field, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. He picked apart the Trailblazers double team like it was a film session he'd already watched. Asked afterward if maybe he should get elbowed every game, Kobe basically shrugged and said, "Nah, I was going to wake up sooner or later. That elbow just woke me up sooner." Lakers win 106-93. The series is 1 game in, and somewhere in Portland, Scottie Pippen has decided he has seen enough. The next day, Scottie Pippen walks up to a press scrum and lets it rip. He's got bruised ribs? Which side? He's trying to be like Mike. He wants to have a heroic performance. They said he had bruised ribs. Come on, It didn't look like he had bruised ribs. He didn't find a shot he didn't like. Now, slow down here, because if you're under 25 watching this, the phrase "trying to be like Mike" probably sounds like a generic Jordan comparison. It wasn't. In 2001, "be like Mike" was the most loaded sentence in basketball. Gatorade had spent 10 years burning that exact phrase into American culture. "Be like Mike" wasn't a comparison, it was a religion. And when Scottie Pippen used it, he wasn't speaking generally, he was specifically referring to the Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals, the flu game, Salt Lake City, where Jordan dragged himself out of the bed half dead and dropped 38 on the Jazz. Pippen wasn't accusing Kobe of imitating Jordan, he was accusing Kobe of trying to steal the most sacred moment in modern basketball mythology. And here's the part that makes it personal. That mythology was Pippen's too. He is the guy who literally carried Jordan off the floor that night. So this wasn't Pippen defending the Trailblazers, this was Pippen defending Jordan from a 20-year-old kid who day before had publicly called Pippen one of the players he most respected in the league. I respected Scottie so much. I looked up to him when I was honing my basketball skills. Scottie has 6 rings. He is the champion. It is a little disappointing, but I've got a job to do. Back at Lakers practice that day, Kobe walked out before the reporters could reach him, but Rick Fox stayed behind and Rick Fox just smiled. We're all trying to be like Mike. Who doesn't want to be like Mike? Scottie may have tried to get Kobe going. I would leave Kobe alone if I were Scottie, but that is Scottie's choice. There's a pause here in the timeline, a moment where Phil Jackson, asked about it, says he thinks Pippen was joking, but here's the thing they don't tell you. Phil Jackson, Kobe's own coach, had once been quoted on the record saying Bryant sabotaged his high school games so he could come back and save them. Phil basically thought Pippen had a point. He just buried it under a smile and called it a joke. Even the people closest to Kobe Bryant believed there was something theatrical about him. And the thing they were all missing, including Phil, is that being theatrical was the project. Trying to be like Mike was the entire point. Pippen meant it as an insult. It was actually a thesis statement. He had just dared the most relentless competitor of his generation to prove him right. There is a moment in every great basketball beef where the talking stops and the math starts. Watch that Kobe Bryant does over the next 48 hours because he doesn't say a single word back. Game 2, 2 nights later, same building, Kobe still has a small pad strapped to his ribs. You wouldn't know it from the box score. He shoots 73% from the field, drops 25 on Portland, Lakers win by 18. In the final minutes, with the game already decided, Scottie Pippen, who had spent 2 days telling reporters the rib injury was fake, drives an elbow directly into Kobe Bryant's bruised ribs on a fast break, hard, unmistakably on purpose. The man who said the injury didn't exist just spent his last competitive minutes of the series trying to make it real. 2 days later, the series moves to Portland, Game 3, and we're back where we started. The locker room, the TV, Pippen on the screen, Kobe walking past it. You're crazy, man. Today is your last day of work. The numbers from that night should be tattooed onto somebody's forehead in Portland. Kobe Bryant, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 turnovers. Scottie Pippen, 3 of 13 from the field, 0 of 6 from the 3, 5 fouls, Lakers win 99-86, sweep complete. The Trailblazers, the Western Conference Finals team from a year ago, are out in 3 games. Bill Plaschke, the hardest LA columnist in the country to impress, walks out of the Rose Garden that night and writes a sentence the Lakers fan base would frame on the wall. All this talk about the Lakers not being the same team as the last year was right. They are better, sweeping better, scary better. Kobe and Shaq combined had now gone 4-0 in playoff series against Portland. And the Trailblazers franchise's last great window, the one that pushed the Lakers to brink in 2000, closed inside the building they called home, with a 22-year-old kid talking trash to a TV screen in the visiting locker room. On the floor, this thing was over in 7 days, but the actual bill Portland paid for what Scottie Pippen said, took years to come due. There's a price to losing a series like this, and Portland paid all of it. Inside of a year, Mike Dunleavy was fired and replaced with Maurice Cheeks. The Blazers tried to run it back the next spring, drew the Lakers in the first round again, and got swept again in 3. Pippen retired 2 seasons after that. His career ended not with a championship, but with a sweep. Years pass, Kobe Bryant builds 5 championships, 2 finals MVPs, the 81, the 60-point farewell, the retired numbers. He becomes the player Scottie Pippen accused him of trying to be. And then he becomes more than that. In 2018, Kobe makes a show on ESPN Plus called Detail. He sits down to break down film, alone in a room, talking like the Hall of Fame coach he might have become. And one of the first players he praises at length on camera by name is Scottie Pippen. He calls him one of the best perimeter defenders he ever faced. He encourages young players entering the league to study Pippen's heart and Pippen's defense. And in 2020, Scottie Pippen sits down for an interview and he says, and you can look this up. When I go back and watch Kobe's tapes, sometimes I think, damn, he was actually better than Michael. The man who once said Kobe was trying to be like Mike now says Kobe surpassed Mike. That is the arc. The entire story compressed into 2 quotes, 20 years apart. In 2001, Scottie Pippen looked at a 22-year-old with bruised ribs and saw a kid playing dress-up. He couldn't have known he was looking at the player who would, 2 decades later, force him to take it all back. Here's what I keep coming back to. Scottie Pippen spent his whole career protecting Michael Jordan's mythology, and when he finally met the kid who was going to expand it, he couldn't tell the difference between a thief and an heir. Pippen meant it as an insult. It was a thesis statement. Trying to be like Mike was the project, the whole point. Pippen just couldn't see it because he was the only person in the room old enough to remember when Jordan was just a guy on a Gatorade commercial, and young enough to still believe that title belonged to one man. It didn't. If you want more deep dives on the moments NBA history almost forgot, hit subscribe. Old school basketball, new school storytelling. See you next time.